viewers, welcome to Facet, where we delve into pressing issues that shape our society. I'm your host, Oluwaseyi Daudu is my name, and today we are addressing a tragic and urgent matter that has far-reaching implications for our communities and especially for our education sector. Just recently, we witnessed a heartbreaking incident in Jos Plateau State, where a school building collapsed, and it claimed the lives of at least 22 individuals. Now, the collapse of the two-story building at St. Academy in the Busa Buji community is not an isolated event, but part of a disturbing trend. From 2022 till date, more than a dozen building collapses have been recorded in Lagos alone. And these are only the documented cases. That means there are many more cases that we might not even be aware of. The Nigerian Building and Road Research Institute, NBRRI, has pointed to substandard materials and poor construction practices as the primary culprits. However, this issue goes deeper, touching on regulatory failures, corruption, and the economic constraints that often plague our educational institutions. So today, we are privileged to have with us a distinguished guest, Comrade Pastor Samuel Oguniyi, who happens to be a public affairs analyst and also an educationist. He's also a retired principal, who will help us unravel with the complexities surrounding this issue. So together we will explore the causal factors, the profound implications for our students and teachers, and most importantly, the way forward to ensure the safety and integrity of our school buildings. How do we protect our children and teachers from such avoidable tragedies? What immediate and long-term steps need to be taken by both the government and the private sector? How can communities and parents play a role in holding responsible parties accountable? These are some of the critical questions we will address today. So stay with us as we embark on this conversation that concerns the very foundation of our children's future and the safety of our educational environment. And if you also have any comments or any question, please feel free to drop your comments below, and do not forget to also subscribe to our channel, Yo Television. Once again, welcome to Facet. My name is Oluwaseyi Daudu. Welcome back to Facet. For those of you probably just tuning in, you're very much welcome. It's Facet, where we discuss different topics surrounding our personal lives and the societies at large. And today we're taking a look at the tragic events that happened recently in Jos Plateau State, where we had children who passed away due to the tragic event that happened in Jos. Remember the building that collapsed on the children. So these are what we're going to be taking a look at. What is the causal factor to this? What are the implications? So these are many more are what we're going to be talking about on Facet. And with me already in the studio, I've got an educationist, just as I told you earlier on. I've got Comrade Pastor Samuel Oguniyi. Good day, sir. Good to have you on Facet.
Good day, ma'am.
How are you doing? I really hope you're...
Thank God we are doing fine. There's no problem.
Okay.
It's only that the prices of commodities that we are using.
Okay.
Almost every day.
I think that's another topic entirely.
Exactly.
But I just like the Nigerian spirit, regardless of how much we're going through. I think Nigerians always have their way of, going through the storm and just overcoming in the long run. But today I want to talk about the recent tragic event, the building collapse that happened sometimes last week in Jos. And, according to reports, about 23 lives were lost. And we still have currently a lot of children, fighting for their lives in the hospital at the moment. Now, when that news came up, to your hearing, how did you feel? What was the first thing that ran through your mind?
Thank you, moderator, and the viewers at home. In fact, when I saw it on Channel TV and we had it on radio, I wasn't myself. Because when you look at that building, when the tractor was working on it to at least work and get those
who were
students.
trapped in.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, I know that it's as a result of corruption that problem emanated.
Corruption.
Yes. Because I know if that building has been built well using those materials that they're supposed to use, it will not collapse like that. I must tell you, my sister.
But I learned that, I mean, this particular school in question is a private university. So when you talk of corruption, how exactly do you mean?
When you look at Cocoa House at Ibadan, look at the years, the numbers of the years that place has been built. It will be up to almost 40 years or more. And if you go to Ibadan, you see that place is very solid. And if you look at Kingsway and many other places like that, but look at this school, knowing fully that it is the students that will be there. You see, that's why I said corruption. And I will define what I meant by that corruption. Okay. Number one. Now, the scripture says in the book of Psalms, you know I'm a pastor. Yes. In the book of Psalms chapter 11 verse 3, that when the foundation is faulty, what will the righteous do? And there is even a portion in the Bible that says, nobody wants to build a house that will not first sit down and count about what is going to use, whether it will finish the house or not. So it's not the kind of kangaroo something that people are doing this time around. Now, you know fully that you are taking that house to the story building. It's not just a story building. You understand? And you know fully that you are taking it to that story building. Then you just have to use the materials that is up to the standard. You know that it's not a living house. Numbers of the students that will be there, and even those materials that you are going to put on that thing, then the foundation has to be solid. The foundation is not solid. I'm telling you.
So who is to blame for all of this? Because I mean, this happened in a private school, and the truth is, this is not the first time. Neither is it the second or even third that we're going to be hearing stories, similar stories like this. I mean, I recall that there was a time somebody took to social media to make a complaint about a particular public school, and the person also talked about how there were cracks on the school building already, and how people have to be very, very careful. But unfortunately, in like a few months later, the building also collapsed. I'm not just very sure if the building also collapsed on the children or not, but this is just to reiterate the fact that this has been ongoing for long. Now, I believe that a building doesn't just collapse at once. The building must have been giving you signal. So is it that people overlook the signal? I mean, what exactly, how effective are the regulatory measures that people take, stakeholders take, in making sure that a building is properly well made?
Thank you very much. Even in a living house, and just like the elders are saying, that if a building is to collapse, it will have been giving you signs. Some even said that it will be throwing stones. Yes. It means people there are not observant enough. If they were observant enough, they will have seen that probably cracks are coming out. I mean, seeing cracks on the walls, and when they walk on the decking, that the something will be shaking. They are not observant enough. If they are observant enough, they might have known that this thing is shaking, that a problem is coming. Problem is coming, but they are not observant enough. That's number one. Then number two, you see, we are talking about construction. And I told you that the Bible says when the foundation is faulty, then what will the righteous do? The foundation is not solid enough. I must tell you. You see, and I said about corruption. The corruption has gone fabric into our veins in this country. I must confess to you. Now, if you are giving any work to anybody to do for you and you don't supervise very well, you just discover that he will not do exactly what you ask him to do. That's it. It's one of the problems. Because I know if that place has been designed for that institution, not that it has been built and they now look at it that let us convert this place to an institution. If that place has been designed for that institution, then they will have planned it that the foundation will be solid one, then the materials to be used will be up to the standard. But the materials are not up to the standard. I said corruption. Now, look at the contractors.
Yeah.
I had the experience when I was building my own house. You tell them that I want you to use 10 cement because I want the foundation to be solid. They will tell you 8 is enough. 8 cement is enough. And if guy is not taking, you are not there, you now discover that when you supply that 8 bags of cement, they will come down to you 6. Are you getting me now?
Yeah.
And if you ask them that, have you done what I asked you to do, they will tell you yes. It's only the workers that are working with them that can even confess to that they have not used the actual number that you provided for them. That's the problem. That's one of the problems. You see, and another problem is that when you give work to people to do for you, go there to supervise. Go there to supervise and see what they are doing, whether it is exactly the speculation of what you gave to them that they are doing.
Okay, so as a retired principal, as an educationist, you've been in this sector for a very long time.
Yes.
For how many years now, if I may ask, have you been in this sector?
Having worked for good 35 years. I've been there for almost more than 40 years.
So good. What role do you think school authorities play in ensuring that their buildings meet safety standards? What are some of the roles?
We are talking about
schools?
Private school.
Yes.
We are talking about
I think
private
it's
school.
also good for us to talk about the issues in private and public. Yeah.
We are talking about private schools. You see, in private schools, they will not involve any outsider, more especially the parents of the students, because they don't know those students that will gain admission to their school. They might have done the building. It's only for the students to come. You understand what I mean? But when we are talking about public school, before they embark on any project in public school, they will involve the PTA. They will involve the PTA. Not only the PTA, they will constitute a committee. And that committee will be in charge right away from the foundation, even to the roofing. And I know that if the committee members want to be factual of themselves, they will divide the work within themselves. Some people go and buy the materials. They will not just give the money for the materials to those who that work there. And when they provide the materials and the people that work there are there, they will tell them what the exact work they want them to do.
This for
and I
private,
believe
right?
Yes, and I believe that nobody wants to soil his or her name by not doing exactly what they ask them to do. So they will do the exact thing. And not only that, we have some people that will be supervising and be giving reports to the house. Almost every time they have PTA meeting. Are you getting me now? And not only that, if it is the government that want to do that kind of a job, at least they will have people that will be on ground that will do it. In fact, I even learned that there is this governor in Ogun State sometimes ago that he will ask you to go and build a block of 3 rooms. After you might have done that to the standard, then you now give him the cost of, building the house. Then he will give you the money. That's good. And I know for that kind of a person, you will not want to do something that when they go there to inspect, that they will say is substandard. Yes, they will do it fine. So I want to advise that, in order to not to allow this kind of a thing to be happening again, our people must think about the future of whatever they are doing. See, the issue of building a house is not an issue that you can just use wishy-washy materials. Knowing fully that, not that after some years, you say you change it, you destroy it and you build another one. It is long-last project. Then for you to enjoy that kind of a thing, then you have to use substandard materials.
Now let's bring it to, I mean, I don't know how private organizations, that's private schools, I'm not really so sure of how they operate some of these things, but I understand that in, certain, or should I say in almost all the public schools,
Okay.
you have like government inspections.
Yes.
There are regulatory measures. I was speaking with somebody some days ago, and he told me about how he was part of the inspection committee and how they had gone to a particular public school to
Okay.
inspect, and he told them his observation
Okay.
that he's noticing certain cracks. They need to be careful because in a short while this place might just collapse. And he wrote his review and all of that. I think some months later the building collapsed, and then the government sent for the inspectors that I don't know, inspecting committee here, what happened and the rest, and they called for them. If not that he actually put that report, because they went to check what the report was when they came to inspect, and he truly put the report there that this particular building is getting weak, something has to be done. So he was saying is that peradventure, if he had not bothered about it, or if he had not put the right review, maybe he could have been in jail for now. So what do you think is responsible for this? Are there no government inspections or regulatory measures put in place, especially for the safety of school buildings?
Just like as I said, that in a school setting, if they want to embark on any project, they will constitute a committee of which they have members of the parents to be members of the committee, and some teachers to be members of the committees. And they will divide the job within themselves, that there are some people that will be in charge of buying the materials. There are some people that will be in charge of supervising the place. There are some people that will be in charge of how are they spending the money on that project. Okay. Now, if let's assume that one is in place, what about the materials that they are using? Look at the blocks that we are buying this time around. You see, I fear people, most of these people that are doing these blocks job.
The block industry.
I'm telling you, with the usage of this dust, you will not. There's no way you can know the amount of cement mixed with that dust.
Sure.
The moment they bake it on this machine, and you go there to test whether it is strong or not, and the kind of sand when they test it is giving you, you think they have done a good job. But when you ask them to pack, especially when that place you are taking those blocks to is far, you ask them to pack, it is when you will see them that they will be carrying the blocks as if they are carrying eggs. It is because the blocks are not solid. They don't use the actual numbers of cement, bags of cement they're supposed to use for a bag. For molding of that blocks. When I was building my own house, I called people and they did the molding for me. I said for one bag of cement, I need 35 blocks. And they gave it to me. And they were even telling me then, that day, that one is too small. Why don't you increase it to 40? I told them, this is a living house. Not that tomorrow I will demolish that place and said I want to rebuild it and do it. But in these block molding people, that you can't tell them the amount of blocks they should mold from a bag of cement. You only just go there and buy, and you don't know how strong that blocks are. It's one of the problems. And not only that, look at this cement we are using. We have this rebar cement. You don't know whether it is rebar cement that they use to mold those blocks, that they use for this something. Not only that, you ask them to put pillar there, and if it is 3 iron this thing they need to use for a pillar, 4, they will tell you 3 is okay. And then if knowing fully that it's not a 1-story building, like 3 or 2-story building, they're supposed to use more I mean, for this iron rod in a pillar, and it shouldn't be 12 mm.
So who are the people responsible to make sure that all those things are in place?
Because
especially in public sector,
they don't go there to inspect. They don't go there to inspect, and that's what I said. Now, in a school setting, they will have committee, and the committee will now decide on that this is what we are going to use. At least if it is 12 mm, if it is 40 mm, if it is even more than that, they will buy this something everybody will see. Are you getting me now? But in a place where corruption has entered, you just give them money to go and buy the something. They will not buy the actual something. You ask them to buy. And that is why we are having this kind of problem we're having. I must tell you.
Now, we've talked the other time about the role that school authorities play in issues like this. Now, where does the government come in? Most of the time, when it's time to make a budget for the year, you have like, the one that they apportion for the education sector. A lot of people often complain that that is not enough. And I mean, let us even look at the situation with the education sector in Nigeria these days. I mean, what do you make of it? How do you think that the government is also contributing to this? Because I mean, you go to certain public schools and the situation of the building is nothing to write home about.
Exactly. You go to some public schools, you will see most of those solid blocks that have been abandoned. They will complain to the government to come and help them roof and do some other, repair and some things. They will not come and do it. We are on here. I will not be chance to mention some schools. In some of those schools that I was before, you ask the government to come and do this thing for you, they will not come. It's only the PTA that is helping the schools now. I must confess to you. Look at Alokta Grammar School, look at Alicia Grammar School, look at BBHS. Most of those solid buildings you see there, even the hall and some others, they are the work of the old student association. They are doing it. Government is not doing anything. Now, a government that want to do something, they want to give. I will say this: government that want to give 1 million, at least for a project in the school, they will ask you to go and open a bank account and deposit. They will ask you to go and open a bank account and deposit like 200,000 there. They will send their own or 250. Are you getting me now? Knowing fully that
they will send how much? For example,
they will not give you that full 1 million naira.
Okay.
You have to do something before that money will come out, and that is the money, and that is the amount they will ask you to go and pay before they now give you that money. And when they start talking, they will be saying they are giving them 1 million, they are giving them 2 million, but they will not say how much actually that they give to them. And even the schools will not even say it. They will not have the amount of saying it. That's the problem. And not only that, like the private schools we are talking about, there's no way you can be good as experts. We have the building contractors. Schools will not involve contractors. They will not fully that they will charge them. But it is better they involve them to charge them so that they will give them good.
So if they don't charge contractors, who do they charge?
And they will just call on. They will call on the roadside builders, bricklayers to come and do it for them. And that's why we have this kind of problem we have.
Okay, now
just tell them to come and help them, and they will be doing it.
Let's look into the implication of issues like this. How do these incidents impact the overall learning environment and the academic performance of students? I've been privileged to see some schools where they don't even have a proper building, talk less of having a proper desk and table to even sit on. I've seen videos, I've seen pictures of students sitting on the floor to learn. I've seen students sit in a classroom where, there are no roofing sheets. So, when things like this keep on happening, how do you think it will impact the overall education the overall learning environment in Nigeria?
My sister, before you go far, it was during the time of Awolowo that we enjoyed this free structure, giving of textbooks and some others. But after that time, they will tell you that education is not free. They will even tell the students that when you are coming from home, come with your lockers, come with your this thing.
I've seen a lot of students carry locker every morning to school and back.
And you now discover that there are some parents that cannot afford to do that lockers. And those are the children you see sitting on the floor. Not only sitting on the floor, some are sitting on these tires. There are some that they won't take them under shade. And there is no learning that can take place under that condition. And that is why we are having this kind of problem of failure, mass failure in either WAEC or NECO or whatever exam that we have. Not only that, the numbers of the students that we have disease are more than, I mean, they are too much, they are too many. How will you expect somebody, a teacher, a mathematics teacher, handling SS1 class? And in that SS1 class, we have SS1A1, we have SS1A2, we have SS1B1, SS1B2, SS1C1, SS1C2. And SS1A1, we have 70 students. SSA12, we have 70 students. In SSA1 alone, we have 150 students. Are you getting me, sir? Then, in SS1B1, we have 80 students. 1B2, we have 80 students. And a teacher will handle that SS1. SS1, in some schools, we have almost 7 arms of SS1.
Wow.
And in a arm, we are having almost 150. And you give it to a teacher to teach. The set of the senior teachers we have in school these days are the teachers employed by Benga Daniel. The Amosun regime, he did not employ any teacher. And this man, the present governor, the teachers are clamoring, crying that they need more teachers in the school. How will you tell level 17 officers to still be teaching, level 16 officers to still be teaching in the school when we have students, when we have the youth, they have completed their NYC this thing and they are waiting to be employed in any job they see. They will ask them to go and log in on Portal for this thing. They will do it. My daughter was involved in the last one we did in Ogun State here. They did not employ them. They did not give them job. And that's the problem. Go to all those schools, you see the numbers of the teachers there handling those subjects. Yeah? In SS2 the same thing. In SS3 the same thing. Even when you get to some schools, you see students sitting on windows. How would they learn?
So now,
under that condition?
It's just really very sad, and it's quite unfortunate. With the recent events in Jos Plateau, I heard of how a parent, actually a whole family, passed away because when the mother learned that all of her children in the school passed away,
you see,
in the collapse, she also passed away. She also died. And then when her husband learned about it, the husband too could not, contain the shock. He also passed. So making a whole family. So when things like this begin to happen, and it seems like it's not going to stop anytime soon because things that are supposed to be done are not done and are not put in place. How do you think that this will, impact parents? How do you think parents or certain stakeholders will feel? Because this is still a country where we're still clamoring for education, making people, both literate and illiterate, to know that, education is very important. You have to go to school. And culture-wise too, we have some people who even believe that certain children should not even go to school. So when they see things like this happening, for them it's a plus. Yes. Maybe some people would even say, before I will send my children to school and God forbid they will go and die, let them cuckoo just be at home. Let's be going to farm together. So how do frequent building collapses affect the trust of parents and communities in the safety of educational institutions?
Thank you, my sister. I want to advise the government to do the needful. I learned about even a man too, not just only that family there. The name of that man is Mr. Suleiman Sule. He lost 2 of his children. There is even one that said the child said he will not go to school on that day. But the father said, because we are doing exam, you have to go. You have to go. So he has to force him to go. He now said, if I had known, I wouldn't have allowed my child to go to school. See what has happened. He lost that one. Are you getting me now? Look at Ife. Is it no Ibadan? Yesterday, there was a rampage. They said the school fees has been increased by 150%. And even they are not giving them light. There's no light. There's no electricity. And they went on rampage yesterday. Sir, if the government want to, if they are very fast, I want to advise the government. Let me just put it that way.
Because we're still coming to the solution,
Yes.
but I mean, you can start with that.
Okay. We need to have the love of these, our children at heart. They don't have the love of the children at heart. Now, look at the budget. In a country or in a state that you budgeted only 25% for education. Look at the NASUs. They said they want to go on strike. Is that not so? They answered the ASUS, but they did not answer the NASUs. They said they want to go on strike. I think they went to Abuja day before yesterday or yesterday to go and protest. Look at from those places that will go to Abuja. If anything should happen to them along the way or over there, who will bear the loss? The government do not have the love of of these children at that, and that's why we have this kind of problem. Now, if they want to do it, I will advise, at least, there is no country that will rise more than the level of education. They have been saying it, and we have been hearing it. There is no country that can rise more than the level of education. When we don't educate these ones that are coming, we that are old, we will soon leave the stage, and they are coming on board. What do we expect from them? That's the problem. That's the problem. What do we expect from them? Now, for the private, they must not look at the profit alone. Are you getting it now? They must not look at the profit alone, though there's no business you start that will not look at the profit.
Definitely.
But not toiling with the lives of children. Innocent children. Are you getting me now? If they know that putting on structure like about a 2-story building or 3-story building, that they will not be able to do it, let them stop on 1-story building and let them have a big space where they will put this in, and the students will be there. Are you getting me now? At least it will not be so difficult for them to put those 1-story building to the standard that the students can learn there, and that's it. I will give them that advice. And for the public school, I want the government to do the needful.
Okay.
I want them to do the needful.
When you say the needful, what are they needful? Because
number one,
right now we need to be very specific.
Yes. At least in a school setting, we have monitoring team.
Okay.
Let the monitoring team go to schools and see what is happening there. We have a lot of schools that are not having enough structure to accommodate the students, their children. We have some of those students that are studying under tree. We have some that are studying under shade. Let them give them enough structure. If they cannot do that, knowing fully that at least it will cost them money, let them charge the students to pay little amount of money that will help them to put the something on. There's nothing free. Even in Freetown, they said there's nothing that is even free in Freetown. Is that not so?
Definitely.
Anything we say free cannot be up to the standard. I'm telling you, my sister. Yes, let them pay money, school fees. You see, they are cajoling us with this kind of what they are saying, that free education. Anything that is free cannot be up to the standard. Let them allow these students to pay. And when they pay, let them use the money judiciously. Let them remember that tomorrow these children are
the leaders of tomorrow, as they say.
I'm telling you. And let them do the needful.
Okay.
You see, the university, when they went on what do they call it?
Strike.
On strike sometimes ago, people are saying, they don't have the love of the students at heart. They don't consider them. But this lecturer said they are not only fighting for their welfare. They said the kind of what they have been using, most of them are obsolete. The chemical they have been using for the past 10 years are the same chemical they will still expect them to be using, and they will expect them to have the same result. The world is moving. It's changing. The world is changing. No, we need to change with the world. And that is why they are clamoring that they should do this and that for them, but they don't do it. They said it's not only welfare this time around, but they want them to. Yes.
So I mean, you've said, because I don't really think I have any more questions to ask you as regards to solution, because you've said almost everything. But I want to ask this, and probably we're going to close with this. Remember that when it comes to building collapse, it just doesn't have to do with the education sector alone. In fact, before the issue of the school building collapse happened, we've had like many cases, especially in Lagos. And schools, even private buildings, companies. I think one even happened prior to, there was one that happened after the school building collapsed. There was one that happened, I can't really remember where it happened, I think in Lagos, and people were like, I hope this is not a season of, building collapse. I think there was a point where it was happening back to back, and we're wondering, I mean, should it continue like this? What can we do to nip it in the bud? What is it with this frequent building collapse? And when it comes to Lagos, people are saying, well, Lagos too, sometimes it could be, the geographical, the location, people are trying to move water, swampy area, people don't get
filling the place before you build.
Exactly. So, I mean, moving forward now, how can we make sure that we nip this issue in the bud, the trend of building collapse in Nigeria?
God bless you. You see, one of the problems I did not mention the other time is the problem of the structure. No, there are some structures that intentionally built for household. Are you getting me now? But then they now convert it to schools.
I think some people even lease private apartments for school owners.
Exactly. Not only that, even in some places that they said that probably the government has told them that they should leave that place, which is as a result of either flooding or whatever. Instead of leaving that place, either do whatever, they will lease it out to school. And that place is not good. It's not good for living, for human living, and they will not lease it for schools. How will it not collapse? And this kind of we call it window dressing. With the kind of materials they use for the building, you will not know, because after the matter of do the painting, do the whatever that we call window dressing, it will be fancy. You think that is as good as we are looking at it, because you did not see the kind of material they used to build the house. Not only that, or even the house before they do that kind of window dressing. That's one of the problems. Then number two, let the government inspect those places they said that will be used for institution. If they don't expect, we'll still be experiencing this kind of collapse. I'm telling you. We want the government to go on and inspect. If you see in this Abeokuta, I'm very sorry to say that, look at some nursery and primary schools. It's nothing to be written home about. You cannot just imagine putting these innocent ones there to go and learn. Many of those schools do not have rest house. They don't have
no restroom.
Yeah,
Wow.
no restroom. I'm telling you. There's no field where they can do this exercise or this thing. And if you see the numbers of them they will pack in a class, it will surprise you. Let the government have monitoring unit that will go there.
And this monitoring
And let the monitoring unit be faithful to themselves. Let them give the government what is happening on the field. You see, when they give them money, when they give them this thing, they will not tell the government what is happening there. Because I know you get to a place where there's no restroom, there's no this thing, the numbers of the students you can pack you ask them that at least you have to increase the numbers of the classrooms we have here, go and get a restroom, go and do this and that before I come back. They will not go back until after 3 years again. Look at that. It's supposed to be every time routine. I'm talking
and to
about
also add to what you've said, I'm thinking that, maybe one of those days where, they have to come, the school should probably not be informed, because I've also heard of situations whereby the school is, pre-informed, and because they know that the monitoring committee is coming, then they try to just put things in place and just make it, they put this make-believe.
That is what I call window dressing. Yes. And so when those people saw it, they said, that is good, this is what, yes. Like when we went there, the something was not there.
Because we cannot always blame the government.
Yes.
No matter how we want to see it, we cannot always blame the government. So I think the other stakeholders too should also
wake up.
There are so many things to touch, to be honest, but because of our time, I think we need to peg it here, and probably, later on we could just look at some other angle. A lot has been said already on the show. Thank you so much for joining us. For those of you probably just tuning in or just watching us, we've been talking about the issues surrounding building collapse, especially with the tragic events that happened in Jos Plateau State. Once again, I want to use this opportunity to pay condolences to all the victims and the families involved. I pray that God will grant you the fortitude to bear the loss. And with all of the solutions that we've been able to point out on the show, which is, centered primarily on us, loving our lives, because if we love our neighbor, we love our lives, then you as a contractor should be able to do the right thing by using the right building materials, and just do right by people. Yes, money is important, but life is much more important. That's about it today on Facet. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be doing this again next time, same channel. Make sure to subscribe, okay? And let me also thank my guest once again. Thank you so much, Comrade Pastor Samuel Oguni. It's been a wonderful conversation. Till next time, catch you later. My name is Oluwaseyi Daudu. Bye-bye.